This is Solano Cycle in Gainesville, Florida. We also have location in Orange Park, Jacksonville Beach, and beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. Today we're going to review the new Lifan E3 that's now available in the United States. I have seen some reviews over in Europe, and they were pretty nice reviews, but I'm going to give you one for the US model and give you a little more perspective. We sell a lot of bikes to students, so I'm going to kind of compare this. We've been doing this for almost 25 years. So I'm going to compare this to a typical 50cc scooter, which is the competition for this bike. This is the electric E3, and it is the QP1200DT model, which means it's a 1200 watt engine or motor. It is a Bosch motor, really nice motor. I drove this for 10 miles and got a good feel for it, which I'm going to go over some of the specs. But first of all, size. I am 5'10" and 210 pounds. So the average rider obviously is not 210 pounds. For this size bike, they're probably closer to 150 and maybe as low as 100. So you're going to get a lot better performance than me being 210 pounds. So the bike size-wise, it is very comparable to, let's say, a Honda Metropolitan, a genuine Buddy 50, a Wolf RX 50, the Bentelli Sprinter. We sell Amigo, so the Amigo SS, the Amigo Beamers. We've got these bikes. These are Scoot Stars, so very similar to those. It's considered a small 50cc or a small scooter, equivalent to a 50cc. As far as size of tires, they are very standard tires. The rear is a 180/10, front is a 3x10. So 180/10 is kind of equivalent to about a 3.5x10 tire. So very similar to all the other scooters out there, which the standard tire is usually a 3 or 3.5x10 for this size scooter. It is a small two-seater. You can push the foot pegs and it will pop out there. So the seat is really comfortable, very nicely padded. The material is really nice. It feels like it's a really well-made seat. I'll go over the storage underneath it in just a moment. Has an aluminum rear rack if you want to add a luggage box or something like that to it. It has twin rear hydraulic shocks, and they are adjustable. So you can adjust them if you want to preload the suspension. And it has hydraulic rear and hydraulic front. And like most 50cc scooters, this is electric, so I keep referring it to a 50. The front is a hydraulic disc, the rear is a drum brake. So that's normal, what you're going to see on the vast majority of 50cc scooters that are in this size and price range. So let's go over the display here. So to turn the bike on, you just like any scooter, you turn the key on and the dash comes on. So it's going to go through a self-check, and then it automatically goes into park mode. So to start the bike on a 50cc scooter, you're going to turn the key on, hold the brake, and hit the starter. Same thing here. You're going to turn the key on, pull the brake, hold the starter for 3 seconds on this one, and it goes into ready mode. So now you're on, and if I twist the throttle, I've got the center stand on so the wheel's off the ground, the bike will move. So it'll start measuring your speed. And you have 3 different settings here. So you have mode 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go over that in a moment with you. Your kill switch right there for emergency shut off if something were to happen. You have your turn signals right here, left and right, just like any scooter. Left and right, push that in. High and low beam on your headlights, which you can see has a high and low beam, and you have a flash to pass. Okay, and then you have your horn right here. Similar, but probably actually a little louder than most horns, but very similar to a typical 50cc horn. So you also have on your display, you have how much power you have, your speed, your mode, whether you're in mode 1, 2, or 3, and that's how much power and speed you're going to get. Your odometer. I'm sure you can probably switch this to, you can probably switch it. Oh, there's different colors. I didn't even notice that. So you can switch the colors, and that's a setting mode. I'm assuming that's maybe a clock or something. I don't know what that is. Let's see here. You have, and then this says amp. So when you're twisting the throttle, it tells you basically kind of how much power you're drawing. And I'll explain that again in a moment. So your key, turn it off to shut your power off. And then if you want to pop your seat, you just turn it to the left. It pops your seat. And there's your storage, just like on any other scooter. This is probably a little less storage than average because the battery's underneath there, but it's got a decent amount of storage. I would say it's about 6 to 8 inches high on the storage. If I were to put my hand in here, it's probably about 8 inches of storage for height-wise, and you can probably put a half-shell helmet in there, your lock, something like that. You're not likely to put a full face or a 3/4 helmet in here. It's probably not going to fit. You have your circuit breaker right here, so when you're not riding the bike, you can flip that switch, disconnects the battery from the rest of the bike for safety. Your VIN number is here. You don't have to do that, but it's just a nice thing to do. Your storage compartment, you can lift this tray out, and there is your battery. So if you want to, you can charge it in your house, or you can leave it in your outside and charge it if you want. That's the safer way. Anything lithium. It is a lithium battery, by the way. If you want to take the battery out, they put these 2 little Phillips head screws right here. They give you a screwdriver, so you can just unscrew those. This little panel comes out, and there's a handle right here that you just lift the whole battery out, unplug it, and lift the whole battery out. It's not very heavy. It's very lightweight because it's a lithium battery, and you can bring that with you and charge it somewhere else. Or if you can leave it on the bike, and you can put all this back in here. We'll come back to that in a moment. There is your charging port right there. So you can charge it outside, or you can take the battery in and charge it somewhere else. And that you would just plug this into the charger and plug the charger into any standard 110 wall outlet. You have a little bit of storage here. So this is about the size of a water bottle. You could put your plastic water bottle in there and still have a little bit of room left over. You could put your wallet in there, your keys, anything like that. Something small. It does have a USB charger for your cell phone right here, which I'll lift this up. So there's your USB charger. If I turn the key on, a little light will come on in here. There you go. The red light show you that the power's on to it. And down here, you can't see it, but right down here, there's a switch. This is a secret switch for your turn signals, which I'll show you now. So when you come up here, I'm going to show you the front of the bike. So this is your headlight. So you have a high and low beam, like I said. High and low beam, you can flash to pass. You have turn signals right here. So that's LED. Your turn signals, let's turn this on here. Let me turn the switch on. So this is the U.S. Department of Transportation approved turn signals. So you can see how it doesn't look like it was made for the bike, and that's true because this is what the rest of the world gets. Nice built-in designed turn signals by the U.S. We make 0 scooters in the U.S., but we have to tell the world where to put their turn signals if they want to bring them into the United States. So, and we get incandescent bulbs, they get LED bulbs. So, but if you'll notice, that's your turn signal there. If you flip this switch in here, you can flip it back to here. Now, you're not supposed to do that. You need to, if you're riding on public roads, you need to be using these. So, but that is cool, much nicer looking, much brighter. So I wish they would let us use those in the United States. But that's your switch. And there's actually 3 settings. You can turn it where it won't even show at all for some reason. But that's your one way, that's your other way. So that's a little switch, little hidden switch. I'm going to have to tell you to leave it on the DOT approved turn signals if you're in the United States. So let's go back to the performance now. So comfort, actually let's go over the comfort. Like I said, it's a pretty comfortable seat. The padding is really nice and firm. It's got nice leg room. I'm 5'10", I still have plenty of inches, and it's a flat seat. So if I want to move back, I can move way back here. If I'm 6 foot tall, 6'2", I can move way back here and ride it if I wanted. So, but it's got a little bit more than average leg room, I would say, than a typical 50. Not much, but just slightly more. And when I turn, it does not hit my knees. So it does not hit my knees, which a lot of 50 cc's are this size of a bike is going to hit your knees. So like I said, a little better than average, I would say. The other thing is when I put my feet down, I'm going to take it off the stand. My knees are still bent. So you could probably go down to maybe 5'5", 5'4", and still be comfortable on this, and up to maybe 6 feet to be comfortable. A 6'2" could ride it. You just have to sit further back on the seat, but you can ride it. Let's turn this turn signal off. You just push this button in to shut it off. Again, high and low beam, horn, and kill switch, and everything's right here. So the performance, let's get into that. So there's 3 settings. So if you're on mode 1, that's your low power setting. It's going to take off with me on it, 210 pounds. too slow. I'm not going to use that. I had to push it off almost to get it to go, or I was going to fall over. But once it started moving, it was okay. I got it up to 20 miles an hour, and that seems to be about where it would go on mode 1. If I switch it to mode 2, it had a very nice smooth acceleration, took off well, got up to about 30 miles an hour. The speedometer, by the way, is almost dead on. When I checked it with the GPS, if it said it was 35, it was going 34. If it said 36, it was going 35. So it's very accurate. Again, so then mode 3. If you want to put on mode 3, that's going to be the most equivalent to a 50cc 4-stroke motor. I compared it to, I wrote it next to a Genuine Buddy, which is this bike, this kind of bike. And that's a 2-stroke, so it's going to be a little faster than average. And that bike did pull away from it a little bit, especially when I was climbing a hill. It did pull away, but not by much. I was able to keep up for the most part. And in traffic, and as soon as traffic slowed up, I caught up to them. So it wasn't that noticeable. Probably not much different than a Buddy versus a typical 4-stroke 50cc scooter. Probably outrun a Honda Metropolitan, if I had to guess, because the Honda Metropolitans come restricted. So the acceleration was decent. The top speed on level ground, I was getting around 36-ish. So I could get it up to sometimes 37 or 38 on the speedometer. If I was climbing a hill, it would slow down to about 30. So and downhill, I got it up to like 39 or 40. But level ground, expect approximately 35 to 36 if you're 210 pounds. If you're lighter, you're going to go faster. I mean, you're probably going to go. I had somebody that was 230, 240 ride it, and he was going about 3 miles an hour slower than I was. So by that math, if you're 150 pounds, you're probably going to go 38, or even 40. So, but with me, like I said, level ground, about 36 to maybe 37. And, on a slight decline, I got it to 38, 39. But on a really big downhill, I got it up to 40. So that is the performance of it. The amps. So when this is going, you can see it'll draw. Let me turn this on, and I'll show you how it takes off. So let's hold the brake and the starter button. Now it's ready. When I take this, I'm on mode 3. It's going to take off. So it jumps pretty good. But you can see how many amps it draws when you do that. When I was on mode 3, I was going all the way to here. So it's taking most of the amps. I used about 40%. I started out with 95%. I got it down to, it was actually 56 a minute ago. So I used about 39% of my battery life. During that decline, I noticed when I was at 95, I was probably going 1 or 2 miles an hour faster than I was at when I was at 55 or 56. So you probably lose a little bit of speed as the battery gets lower as well. But it wasn't drastic. Let's see here. Oh, so amps. So when I was on mode 3, I was using amps all the way to about here. What I noticed, and I drove it pretty harshly during those. I drove it 10 miles, and so your range is probably going to be on mode 3, driving it hard, 200-pound rider, probably going to get 20-ish miles of harsh riding. If you're driving it like when you own it and you're driving it normal, you're not test driving it, you're probably going to put it on mode 2. If you're 150 pounds, definitely mode 2. You don't need to put it on mode 3 unless you're in a really busy area. You're probably going to get, if I had to guess, 30, 40 miles, maybe a little more if you're lucky. And if you're only 100 pounds, you can probably set it on mode 1. But and you can shift this while you're riding. If you find you're getting into traffic or climbing a hill, you can flip it to mode 3 while you're driving. You don't have to stop, and you'll get that extra boost. So what I did, speed-wise, when I was on mode 1, I got it up to 20. Mode 2, I got it up to 30, and then, like I said, mode 3, I was getting 35, 30 to 38 miles an hour. The other thing I want to mention is I noticed when you're giving it throttle, once you get to full speed, if you back off the throttle just slightly to maintain the speed, if you hold it floored, you're going to just stay at this amps. But if you back off slightly, you'll maintain your speed, but the amps will come down to about here, so you'll probably get a longer range. So just one thing I noticed when I was testing it. If you have any other questions about the bike, let me know. Overall, my opinion, much better than I expected. Based on the reviews I read in Europe, I watched in Europe, I was not expecting a lot from this bike. It is actually very well made for its price point. I mean, it's better than most of your typical 50cc Chinese scooters. It feels much better. The ride is better. It's very quiet. The only rattle I heard was from the shocks. Very slight rattle on the front shocks when you're hitting small bumps. That is normal on any Chinese bike. So, and this is probably less, better than average. There was nothing from the rear that I heard. And that noise is, there's like a small amount of play when there's no load on the shock, and then when you hit a bump it kind of moves a little bit. Any of your Chinese bikes and a lot of your other non-Chinese bikes do it too. And you just don't hear it because you hear the motor over that. But I've driven thousands of bikes over the last 25 years, and for the price point of this bike compared to all the other bikes, this one seems to be really well made. I was shockingly surprised. I mean, are there better e-bikes? I'm sure there are, but not at this price point. There's not. I mean, I have not found one in this price range that is anywhere not close to what this one gives you. So, I mean, this is going to be like any other 50cc bike. So if you just want an electric scooter that is equivalent to a 50cc gas scooter, this is good bang for your buck. I mean, yes, you can get a 50cc one for probably $1,000 less than this, but most of your e-bikes that do what this one does are closer to $3,000. So believe me, I'm in the business and I've been looking at these things for a long time. I've looked at a lot of different e-bike models, and I just haven't found anything until this one that could compare to, that could compete with a 50cc gas scooter in terms of price, because it's a little less expensive or about the same price as a good quality 50cc scooter. It's more than an economy 50, but this bike is nicer than an economy 50cc scooter, to be honest. I mean, it drives a lot nicer than most. And I have driven just about every scooter imaginable in the United States for over the last 25 years. So we have sold thousands and thousands of scooters, and I think this is a hit. I think it's a nice bike. Is it going to succeed in the U.S.? We'll see. But I think Lifan did a good job on this. Like I said, 1200 watt Bosch motor, can't go wrong. It's available in blue, white, yellow, and black. And so hopefully this is a hit. We'll see how it does. If you have any questions, just leave me a message, and we'll try and answer it for you. Thank you.